All right, good morning, traders. Today's the last day of the month, July 31st, 2025. My name is John Carignan. I am the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. That is the day trading service for the hit and run candlesticks family. All right, want to thank everybody out there in podcast land, digital land, cyberland. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for subscribing to my content, sharing my content. Thank you, Bob Jordan, Kathy, Sarah, Roasted. Thank you for sharing my content. Appreciate that. Thank you for all the kind words. Thank you for the thumbs up, the likes, everything that goes to inspire me to keep doing this day after day in my trading journey. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, your appreciation for my trading journey. Thank you so much. So, let's go ahead and drill down here. Let's see what we got for yesterday. All right, so my SPY pivot this morning. Let me make sure. I think it says 634.95. Let me just double check it. Whoop, we got to go over that too. SPY. And just move it over. Yeah, 634.95. Okay, that's my pivot. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. All right. All of the Fab Five still in daily uptrends. FNGU, QQQ made lower highs and lower lows, closing over bullish traps over their 17 EMAs. IWM made a lower high and a lower low, closing under a bearish cross under the rising 17 EMA. SPY made a lower low and a lower high, closing inside a bullish trap, but over the 17 EMA. SPY closed with a 2-hour downtrend and a 10-minute downtrend. Let me just say, after hours, between 4 and 4:15, there was a huge green candle to the upside. Diamond Dow made a lower low and a lower high, closing under a bearish cross, but over the 17 EMA. Went over IWM. Did I get the IWM yet? I know it's in there. IWM, lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish cross under the rising 17 EMA. Okay, silver, still in an uptrend, made a lower low and a lower high, closing under a bearish trap and under the 17. Gold starts a daily downtrend or in a daily downtrend, made a lower low and a lower high, closing under a bearish trap and under the 17 EMA. USO, couple of nice candles there on these last 2 days for USO. In a daily uptrend, made a higher low and a higher high, closing over a bullish trap and over the 17 EMA. UNG still in a downtrend. It's got that bearish head and shoulders pattern going on. UNG in a daily downtrend made a lower low and a lower high, closing under a bearish trap under the falling 17. US dollar index started a new uptrend, closed near the 99.76 area. SPY max pain for today. Today's options expiration Friday. Okay, so max pain for the options, the SPY options that expired today. Remember, the options expire at 4:15 for the indexes, and for the securities they expire at 4. Okay, SPY max pain 625 with a put to call ratio of about 2.5 puts for each call that expires today. Okay, a put squeeze is on the table today. All right. All right, let's go take a look at some charts. All right, start off with SPY. Here's 10-minute. Okay, you can see the 3 has not crossed the 8 here on the 10-minute on the close of yesterday. Let me just say there was a huge green candle blasting over the top of this wick on the very next candle due to earnings. All right, so SPY 10-minute in a downtrend. All right, 10-minute in a downtrend. 2-hour. Okay, on the 2-hour, pick up a clean chart. And you can see the yellow 3 EMA underneath the white 8 EMA. 2-hour downtrend coming into the close on the daily chart. Okay, we've got a lower high and a lower low. Closing, see the red body? Closes inside of the bullish trap. Bullish trap because 3 EMAs on top of the 8 EMA. So closing inside of the bullish trap and over See these green dots? It's the rising 17 EMA, okay? Over the rising 17 EMA. If we look at this with the quad lines on there, we are up in the top of quadrant 4. That's bullish. And we're making higher lows and higher highs. See all the green dots? Okay? We're in a daily uptrend right there, okay? So there's price action for SPY. All right, let's take a look at the weekly. Weekly's also in a weekly uptrend. See all the green dots there? Higher lows, higher highs, okay? Monthly. All right, also see the 3 on top of the 8, monthly also in an uptrend. So SPY in a daily uptrend, a weekly uptrend, and a monthly uptrend. Currently, we left off last night, all right, with a 2-hour downtrend and a 10-minute downtrend. Now, let me just say, after the close, there was a whole lot of price action happening after the close. Okay, so there's SPY. All right, so let's go take a look at the pre-market just for a minute here, okay? Let's peek at it. Let's talk about how we're going to trade it, okay, coming into the open, all right? So currently, we left off with a 10-minute downtrend, but you can see, obviously, that was quickly converted into a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. Currently, right now, in the pre-market, we have, all right, you can see right here, a 10-minute downtrend under VWAP, all right? Like to see where they find their footing, okay? They should be able to find some support on the all-time high right here, right at 638.69, and I would look for a J hook off of the 638.20 area or 638.69 area, either one between the 638, actually right here, 637.84 area or 630, about 638. They should find some support or before it, and hopefully we can J-hook off of that to the upside. We'll see what happens here. This is SPY on the 10-minute time frame, all right? And you can see currently we're in the downtrend, okay? So we're going to just mark off, all right? We're going to mark off the lows and the highs, okay? We'll mark off that high, all right? And we'll mark off this low right here. We're just going to use this low. We're not going to use all of that. That would be all the tail, okay? So if we have a 10-minute downtrend, all right, I'm going to look for a red 10-minute downtrend candle, okay? So I'm looking for a red candle for a possible move down to this. I'm going to make another one, 638 area, right about there, okay? So I don't know if we're going to get gap fill, all right? If they continue to stick down here and continue to push lower, we'll look for gap fill, all right? But this is the one we're looking for a bounce to occur on, right there, about 638, right there, right on top of that consolidation, right through here. So we'll see what happens, all right? If they J-hook here on this one, or they J-hook on this red line right there. Okay, this is the range for the post-market from yesterday and the pre-market from today, okay? More than likely, these will not, okay, these will not be, they're not even going to take place. You're probably going to box off the first 15 minutes, okay? That's my plan, to box off the first 15 minutes of trading, and whoever breaks to the upside or the downside in that first 15 minutes is what I would probably trade for price action on SPY. Okay, so I would look for a break of the first 15 minutes. So I would take a box like this and mark off the first 15 minutes, and whoever breaks out of that box is the side I would probably trade with. Currently, we got a 10-minute downtrend under VWAP. Other than that, I'd probably be looking for a red candle for the downside. Okay, nothing with more wick, more tail than body and wick. Okay, if it's got way more tail than body and wick, then it's showing me bullish control on that candle. All right, and I would want a green candle, all right, because for the 10-minute downtrend, all right, wouldn't want a green candle, only for the 10-minute downtrend, for the simple reason that the bulls are operating in that candle. Don't want to short when the bulls have the ball and the bulls are making first downs. Okay, so I wouldn't want a green candle. I wouldn't want a doji or a spinning top that tells me bulls and bears agree on price. Okay, I am actually picturing price to J-hook out of here and probably travel all the way back to about 641, 642 area, all right? So we'll see what happens. Maybe we don't even leave this area. It's possible that we just consolidate over to the right. We got some big earnings coming out tonight too, all right, as well as what we had last night, okay? So last night, I think, was Amazon and, what was it, Meta and Microsoft? We'll take a peek here. Let me just take a look real quick. Okay, so last night for earnings, last night was Microsoft and Meta. Yeah, all right, so tonight's Apple and Amazon. Okay, Apple and Amazon comes in tonight. All right, Microsoft and Meta reported last night. All right, they both beat. All right, so looking for Apple and Amazon tonight. All right. All right, so there's the plan for this morning. Mark off the first 15 minutes. Look to see who breaks out of the first 15-minute box. All right, targets would be the overnight high and the overnight low, depending upon if it's an uptrend, overnight high. If it's a downtrend, overnight low. All right. First downtrend target would be this all-time high right here, 638.66. That's going to be my first target, 638.66 on the downside, if we're not already there. All right, second target is going to be this plateau right here between this consolidation and these wicks up here. All right, 637.12. That'll be my second target. All right, again, I'm looking for price to J-hook off of this area right here, okay? And it may just continue right on down to fill gap. That's a possibility, all right? Who knows what they want to do with it, okay? They may want to just fill gap, all right? Maybe nobody's interested in it at all, and they may come down here and fill gap. And who knows if they keep traveling further south, all right? If they do fill gap, I would think that we'd probably get at least a $2 or $3 bounce off of a gap fill, all right? All the way back up to 637.12. So the close yesterday is 634.49. I would expect at least probably $1.50. That would bring us up to 65, 566, $2.50, probably back up to 637.12, back up to that area. All right. So there's SPY on the 10-minute. You have the plan. All right. Let's take a look at QQQ. Oh, let's look at the game plan. Not that it's going to be relevant this morning. Okay. We'll look at the game plan and pick it up on the 15 and zoom in here, drag this down. All right, we have a green erases red entry over 636.90. Okay, the pivot is 634.95. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. We have a red erases green entry underneath 633.50. Okay. Underneath 633.50 is a red erases green entry right there. I know it does, you probably think it belongs down here, but we have a little peak between the two valleys, which gives us an earlier entry right there. So if they happen to do the gap fill thing and then keep traveling further south, below 633.50 would be another bearish entry right there. So there's SPY game plan, okay? I like 1 day till expiration Friday options on the multiple of 5. All right, I like 1 day till expiration Friday options on the multiple of 5. All right, I like them $3 to $15 out of the money, okay? I like them because they're cheaper. They're not going to get the performance that you would on a 0 DTE option, okay? If you play 0 DTEs in the money, you're going to get much better performance from those than you would from out of the money, okay? Remember, it's all about your delta, All right, your delta is going to determine how much your option's going to move according to how much the underlying security moves. All right, so if you got a 30 delta, all right, and your underlying security moves $1, you're probably going to get somewhere between 35 and 25-cent move inside your option. Okay, remember you're going to have decay as well. All right, so somewhere around 25 to 35 movement out of your option price. Okay, so again, that's a 30 delta. All right, so like I said, you're going to get much better performance out of your in the money options, all right, that are closer to 0 days till expiration. All right, you'll get almost quite near penny for penny performance on those. All right, keep in mind they will be melting all day long. All right, as the day continues, they will lose some of their value due to the fact that they are going to expire at 4:15. All right, so there's SPY. I like 1 day till expiration or 8 day till expiration. Friday options on the multiple of 5, anywhere between $3 to $15 out of the money. I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP that are breaking away from VWAP. I like 10-minute downtrends under VWAP that are breaking away from VWAP, okay? If we happen to get a 10-minute downtrend that manifests way up here, okay, long before the red erases green entry, okay, I will be highly interested in trading the 10-minute downtrend, okay, under VWAP. Okay, I would prefer that it break a 10-minute rubber band candle or be below the pivot. All right, that's what I would probably require to trade that 10-minute downtrend that manifests way up here. All right, as you know, as opposed to my red erases green entry down here at 633.50. All right, I have a green erases red over 636.90. Again, if I get a 10-minute uptrend that happens to manifest down here, okay, long before my green erases red entry way up here, okay, if it breaks the rubber band candle, the 10-minute bullish rubber band candle, if it breaks that, then I'm highly likely to trade that to the upside, okay? Again, manifest down here or long before the green erases red entry, okay? Either that or see the 10-minute uptrend pass through the pivot on 634.95, okay? Break a 10-minute rubber band candle attached to the pivot, all right? That's what I would like to see there. So there's my SPY game plan for this morning, okay? QQQ options are going to be the same thing. All right, let's visit QQQ. QQQ, I like same options, 1 day and 8 day till expiration. Friday options on the multiple of 5, $3 to $15 out of the money. QQQ game plan right there. Okay, got QQQ pivot, 567.85. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. Bullish. Green erases red entry over 570.35. Red erases green entry under 565.65. Okay. Again, I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. I like 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. Okay. Those are my preferable trend and my preferable time frame, and those are my preferable trends that I like to trade. Okay. Especially like it when they break those 10-minute rubber band candles, either at the pivot or on the VWAP. All right, either one. Those are my 2 points of interest. Okay, so there's the QQQ game plan. Okay, again, I like 10-minute uptrends. Now back to SPY. Okay, now my favorite chart for SPY. Okay, and if you haven't heard me say it once, I'm going to say it again. Okay, I like a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP inside of a 2-hour uptrend. Okay, inside of a daily uptrend, inside of a weekly uptrend, inside of a monthly uptrend, all over the prior all-time high anchored VWAP. That's my favorite trend. That's my favorite trade to take. Okay, we have a very rare opportunity right now. Okay, that we have that. Okay, if you look at this, we have a head and shoulders pattern. That would be a left shoulder. That would be a right shoulder. Okay, and this would be the head up here, double top. Okay, notice we decapitated the head. because we're way up here, okay? Cannot lose that, all right? So there was a head and shoulders pattern setting up yesterday, all right? So there's SPY on the 15 minutes, okay? Again, 10-minute uptrend over VWAP, inside the 2-hour uptrend, inside the daily uptrend, that's inside the weekly uptrend, that's inside the monthly uptrend, all over the prior all-time high anchored VWAP. That's what I like. All the wind is in my sails from all those different time frames, all those moving averages, all pushing price and supporting price to go higher and higher, okay? That's what I like, okay? We're bullish. I'm going to be bullish until we're not, all right? That's just how it is, all right? I'm going to remain bullish till we're not. I'm going to be cautious on counter trend trades, okay? Something that goes downtrend, okay, in a time frame that we have multiple different time frames all in uptrends. I have to trade those with caution, recognizing that they may stop at any time. Okay, now if I get disconnected, all right, which I don't know if I am or I'm not, okay, I'm going to have the video here for you, but I can't stop it right now to make sure everything's going. You got it? Oh, thank you. All right, I'm back. Awesome. All right, so that's what I'm looking for. And right now, let's just look at the pre-market just one more time before I visit the rest of the market, okay? I'm going to go to the 10-minute chart. I'm going to go to the pre-market, post-market, okay? You can obviously see prices up over the VWAP from yesterday, showing you a 10-minute uptrend until we open up, and then you can see VWAP snaps up there. Okay, and now we're underneath it. In reality, we're still over yesterday's anchored VWAP. So what I would do, all right, so that there's no confusion, I would take my anchored VWAP right here. See the little anchor? And I'd plant that, buddy, right there on the first green candle of yesterday. All right? That way when price opens up, you're not going to get that whippy action from the VWAP. You're going to get a smoothed out anchored VWAP that you will know if price is over it or under it. Okay, again, that's the VWAP that I'll probably be trading, is this one right here. Okay, the one anchored on the first candle from yesterday, the first candle from yesterday, the first 10-minute candle from yesterday. Okay, that will probably be the one where I will trade, the one that I will anchor price onto. Okay, I will anchor that VWAP there. Okay, and then if you move that to the game plan, you'll get a much smoother VWAP to trade than something whippy that's all the way up here, which is really bullish, but it's showing you bearish. Okay, or something bullish down here, but it's way out of line. Okay, so don't forget to plant that anchored VWAP on the first candle of yesterday so you get something smooth and you'll know whether you've got a 10-minute uptrend or a 10-minute downtrend, okay? Because from this perspective, yes, you will have a 10-minute downtrend as long as price stays underneath it, but in reality, you have a pullback to the anchored VWAP from yesterday. This is where this anchored VWAP comes into play and benefits you right here, right now, in this scenario here where we rip down and then we gap up. Huge, all right? So you're going to want that to trade from, all right? So there's SPY on the 10-minute chart, okay? All right. You guys know what I like to trade. Let's go to IWM. All right, IWM on the daily chart. And back over here on the game plan. And pick up the daily chart. All right, IWM, lower high, lower low, closing underneath the bearish cross and underneath the 17 EMA, okay? IWM is not broken, okay? IWM still moving up, and you can see it holding the higher ground, okay? Just having an off day these last 3 days, okay? Last 5 days having an off day, but not, they're having an off day, but notice they're not moving lower, okay? If we take out that tail right there, okay, they will negate the uptrend and convert a downtrend. Okay, they haven't made any lower lows yet on the daily chart. Okay, they have to take out that low in order to negate the uptrend. Currently, they're showing strength by consolidating up here in the upper part of quadrant 4. That's still bullish up there on IWM. It's still in an uptrend. All right, it's up here in quadrant 4, so that's bullish. Still up over that all-time high anchored VWAP. All right, and you're still in the upper third. Okay, not quadrant 4, but you're in the upper third, which is probably right about there. Okay, you're in the upper third. That's still bullish up there in the upper third. Okay, so that's bullish and in an uptrend. Let me pan out a little bit more. See, we're not quite in quadrant 4, but we're in the upper third of the quad line moves. All right, so there's IWM, still bullish and in an uptrend. Diamond down. Okay, notice top of quadrant 4. That's bullish and in an uptrend. If they take out this tail down here, okay, they will negate the uptrend and convert the downtrend. Okay, diamond down, still bullish and in an uptrend. It's doing the right stuff right now. Okay, you move up, hold the higher ground. That's bullish. Okay, you move up, hold this higher ground. That's bullish. It might be a sloppy hold. Okay, but that's bullish right there. Okay, holding that higher ground, and that's still in an uptrend, unless of course it takes out this low right there. Still in an uptrend. Okay, so let's take a look at FNGU. All right, FNGU, not yesterday, but the day before, made a new all-time high. Yesterday's candle, lower high, lower low. All right, closing over the bullish trap, over the rising 17 EMA at the top of quadrant 4. Again, it's doing the right stuff, not just one candle, but as a group of candles. They're moving up and holding, and then moving up and holding right here. Okay, that's bullish, and now moving up even further. Okay, this is bullish and in an uptrend. See all the green dots? That's an uptrend. That's, see the higher low, higher high. All right, higher highs. Okay, so that's an uptrend and it's bullish. Top of quadrant 4. Okay, remember, just not yesterday, but the day before, new all-time highs for FNGU. Okay, that's bullish up there. Okay, so we did diamond down, we did IWM, we just went over SPY. You want to visit QQQ? We'll take a peek at that on the daily chart. Okay, got a lower high and a lower low as compared to the previous day, and we closed over a bullish trap. That's always bullish. All right, and you're closing over, look at this rising 17, that's still bullish. Okay, nothing here says things are falling apart. Okay, QQQ, actually in the pre-market, things are looking quite well. Okay, QQQ daily chart. Again, I'll zoom out. Top of quadrant 4. Okay, that's bullish, uptrend. Look at all the green dots. Okay, right there. Got some higher lows right here and here, and got a couple of higher highs. You can see right there. Just the day before yesterday, new all-time high for QQQ. Okay, things are not falling apart. Things are looking good. Okay, on QQQ. All right, everything looking good there. Let's visit the technicals. All right, for the technicals for yesterday. Okay, kind of chomped around, which I kind of suspected, inside the bull zone, the buyer's chop zone, and the seller's chop zone. Okay, failing to make a significant new high, sent us down into airborne through the seller's chop zone into the sell zone down here. Okay, and I can imagine we will be opening up here in the buyer's chop zone and probably working on breaking this trend right through here. Okay, all right, I would look for price to probably move over, make a opening area up in the buy zone on top of this downtrend line, and we'll see how high they get. If they continue to rise into the buy zone, or if they begin to consolidate over the prior consolidation inside the buyer's chop zone. I would suspect they begin to consolidate with higher lows and higher highs inside of the buyer's chop zone and start melting up into the buy zone and the overbought zone. We'll see what happens. That's what I suspect. We'll see what happens, okay? We've had 5 red days in a row for IWM, and this is the broader picture of the market, okay? T2122. All right, so looking to break the downtrend line right there on T2122. Let's look at T2123. Okay, price action. Did they? No, they didn't make a new all-time high. Okay, so new rally high anyways. All right, so you can see price action still moving up and holding the higher ground. Okay, they're in a downtrend. Okay, they move up and they're holding that higher ground. Okay, they had a little flake out right there. Okay, things are not broken. They did fill a bullish gap that's over here. Okay, see they filled this bullish gap right there, and they made an attack on this bullish gap right there. All right, notice they closed up over the top of the 200 SMA, the rising 200. Okay, so looking for price to return back up to the base. Probably looking for it to H pattern roll over, all right, and retest the 200. We'll see, or they climb on top of the base, consolidate, and begin to melt up again, all right? So there's T2123.15, all right, that's still bullish up there, all right, but in a downtrend currently on the 15. 2-hour or the 3-bar chart says something a little bit different. Take a look at the 3-bar. All right, on the 3-bar, notice, okay, we're still bullish. See how price has moved up, okay, moves up, holds the higher ground, moves up, holds the higher ground, moves up, and it's holding that higher ground up there. Okay, we're still bullish on the 3-bar chart. We're up over the 200 SMA. We're up over these 2 prior all-time highs, okay, right there. We're still bullish on the 3-bar chart. This is still looking good, okay. All we have to deal with is some consolidation over here, okay. So you can see we've got a little consolidation. We've already taken out this valley low. We've already taken out that valley low. We're dealing with that high and that high right there. Okay, if you see we put up the crosshairs, okay, at the top of this, you can see that the highs up here are dealing with these 2 peaks. After we get over these 2 peaks, only thing left is the all-time high. Okay, all we got to do is get over those 2 peaks right there. All right, that's all that's left through all of this price action to the left of where we are. This is all that's left is these 2 peaks and that all-time high, and then it's blue skies up above. All right, there's T2123. That's bullish. This is the 3-bar chart, and in an uptrend, there's a low. You can see the higher low. There's a high. You can see the rally high up there. Okay, 15-minute is in a downtrend. 3-bar definitely in an uptrend right here. Okay, again, we just got these 2 peaks to deal with, and then it's the all-time high. Okay, that's it. And then we're making new all-time highs, which I suspected we might way back here when we started to transition over the 200 SMA. You can see we're up over that hooking 200 SMA. Beautiful thing right there. T2123 3-bar chart. Okay, let's take a look at FNGU. Remember, FNGU had a wonderful evening. All right, you can see price action for yesterday. Okay, looking like a little bit of selling in the morning and mostly all buying in the afternoon until we saw the head and shoulders fail the double top right here on yesterday. Okay, and then we had a breakdown, okay, with the head and shoulders pattern. Double top failure right here, pulled back to 200 SMA, all right, and then they had a bounce. And you can see this is where we are in the bounce. Okay, so you can see right there, that would be on FNGU a new all-time high. All right, if we open up here, okay? I'm just going to flip through a couple others. SPY. If we open up here, that will be a new all-time high for SPY. If we open up here, okay? QQQ. If we open up here, that will be a new all-time high for QQQ. Diamond down. Diamond down, not showing a new all-time high. IWM, not showing a new all-time high. I'm going to go back to FNGU, and now we're going to go visit a few other sectors, okay? Let's go visit XLE, energy. Energy is looking good, okay? Energy not quite in the upper third, not in the lower third. If it's in the upper third, it'd be bullish, okay? So if price could get up here in the upper third, okay, this would be bullish. Okay, if it goes in the lower third, okay, this is going to be bearish down here. Right now, still neutral, okay, right through here. As we go back and forth, see how price goes back and forth. Okay, that's just neutral. This is neutral right through there. All right, so price action in an uptrend because we've got higher lows. Okay, see the higher lows. Okay, and we got higher highs. All right, so that's an uptrend, but we're just in the neutral zone. Okay, notice every time we get up to all-time high anchored VWAP, okay, we give it up. All right, see, we go up here, we give it up. We go up, we give it up. Go up, we give it up. Hence, that's the reason we're neutral. Okay, if you go up and you stick it, all right, and you plank it or you hold it, the higher ground, that's bullish. All right, if you're going to continue to move up and give it up, it's just going to be neutral. All right, unless they start going up and giving it up here in the upper third, but they're not there yet. Okay, so right now, all right, I do like what I see on a bigger picture. Okay, and what I'm looking at is you can see some consolidation right through here. All right, and I'm looking at some consolidation right through here. Okay, so we're beginning to consolidate over prior consolidation. That's bullish right there. Okay, we're beginning to look bullish right here. Okay, again, if we make it up into the upper third, okay, in the upper third up here, okay, we'll be bullish. Can't quite do it yet. Remember, they held over here for about 2 weeks. Notice they're still struggling to hold over that all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, so XLE in an uptrend, showing some bullish behavior, but still neutral right now. Okay, let's take a look at UNG and USO. USO is petroleum crude oil. Higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap up in quadrant 4. That's bullish and in an uptrend. Okay, you can see the series of higher highs and higher lows. Okay, you got a higher low. See all the higher lows. Okay, and then we got higher highs right there. Okay, this is the lower high, but we haven't made a lower low. In order to negate the uptrend that we're in, we have to make a lower low. We haven't made a lower low. All right, even though we can make a lower high. All right, but that doesn't put us in a downtrend. It's the lower low that will put us in the downtrend. Just because I have a lower high doesn't make it a downtrend. All right, and you can see price action. All right, showing you a lot of bullish behavior. Again, you've got consolidation over prior consolidation. Okay, so there's some consolidation, and you can see here we're going to not include this because that was a global economic event. It's an outlier. Okay, we get consolidation over consolidation. So that's bullish up here in quadrant 4 and in an uptrend for USO. UNG's in a downtrend. UNG showing you a head and shoulders pattern on the daily chart. Okay, so if we zoom out here, you can see price action. Okay, still got the same. There's the triple top head. Okay, here's your right shoulder. All right, here's your left shoulder. Double top here, double top there. Okay, here's a break of the neckline right through here. There's the test of the neckline right there. Okay, failure to break over the neckline and hold the higher ground. Okay, so now we're going to melt down and test those all-time lows. Yesterday's candle, lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish trap under the falling 17. This is in a downtrend. It's down here in quadrant 1. This is bearish and in a downtrend right there. Okay, thank you for sharing, Alan. All right, let's take a look at GLD. Okay, GLD puts in a lower low right here. Okay, so they're in a downtrend. See these two lows? They put in a lower low. So they're in a downtrend. In order to negate the downtrend, they got to come up here and take out that high. That would be an uptrend. All right, if they take out that high. All right, right now they're not. They might be in a downtrend, but they're still bullish. All right, because they've moved up and they're holding this higher ground, top of quadrant 4. That's still bullish. They're in a downtrend, but that's still bullish. Okay, right there. All right, so there's GLD daily chart, still bullish, but in a downtrend right there. Okay, they may pull back to see this uptrend line, and then J hook off of here. Okay, we may see this happen. Okay, remember, the whole time they stay in the upper third, they will be bullish, even though they are moving down. Okay, so there's GLD, bullish, and in a downtrend right there. Silver, bullish, and in an uptrend. Okay, silver up here in quadrant 4. Okay, silver has to take out this tail candle low in order to negate the uptrend. Okay, they're still in the upper quadrant 4. They're bullish. They're just not moving up today or yesterday or all this week. All right, silver still bullish up here in quadrant 4. Still in an uptrend until they take out that candle low right there. And this looks like an exhaustion candle to the downside. I would look for a reversal to manifest down here sometime at the end of this week and in the beginning of August, right through here. Okay, I'd look for a J hook off of this support right here. See the launch pad that was built? I would look for a J hook off the launch pad support area. There's silver. All right, let's take a look at a few sectors. SMH. All right, so SMH. Okay, see the daylight between the red candle wick and the green line, new all-time high. SMH. Okay, doesn't get any better than that. XLK, technology sector. Lower high, lower low, closing top of quadrant 4. See all the green dots? That's an uptrend. See the higher lows and the higher highs. Okay, bullish and in an uptrend. Technology sector, XLF. Financial sector, okay, still making higher lows and higher highs. We're still consolidating over prior consolidation. That's bullish, okay? Consolidation, and then we've got consolidation over prior consolidation, okay? That's bullish. We're up here in top of quadrant 4. That's bullish, still in an uptrend until we take out this low right there, okay? And we could be in a downtrend, but still remain in the upper third and be bullish, okay? So they could test the bottom of this launch pad right here and still be bullish, all right? XLF, bullish and in an uptrend, okay? Currently holding the higher ground, okay? So that's XLF. IYT is in a downtrend now, okay? Transports, see that low right here? So we got a valley low that happened to break below the 17 right here. Okay, right there, that little tail. Okay, and price got down below it, right over here. Okay, and we broke that low here and here. Okay, that would be the day before's candle and yesterday's candle. Okay, so that's a downtrend. Okay, but we're still in the no, we're just neutral now. Okay, so price action for IYT just neutral. Okay, so as you can see, that would be the lower third, the upper third. You can see us closing below the lower third, and they may J hook off of this all-time high anchored VWAP and find their way back up here. That's a possibility, therefore producing a higher low. All right. We'll watch for that to happen. Currently in a downtrend and moving down, okay, and just neutral, all right? They were bullish, see, holding this higher ground, but now they're giving it up, all right? So guess what? Back to neutral, okay? So they're up, held it, and now giving it up, so back to neutral. Okay, so there's IYT. Let's go take a look at the economic package, see what we got going on there. Thank you for sharing, Alan. And what do we want? We want this one right here. Let's start with the dollar, okay? Now notice the dollar is now in an uptrend, okay? We have a series of lower highs right here. See that? Lower highs, okay? And lower lows. See the low? And then you've got lower lows, okay? See this? Lower lows. Well, guess what? Okay? There's a high, and they made a higher high. That breaks the downtrend. Okay? So they were in a downtrend. They just broke the downtrend. If they fail to hold the higher ground, remember this was major support when we were coming from here down to it, and then we broke through it, tested it, and failed to close candles over it, all right, therefore producing a lower low down here. Okay, if they climb up on top of here, all right, they will be currently they're in an uptrend because they made a higher low and a higher high, all right, they're in an uptrend, all right, but chances are we start to consolidate down here, okay, underneath major minor resistance. This is major support, now becomes minor resistance. So I would expect price to probably consolidate in this area right through here, moving back and forth, and then either eventually moving back up here, all right, producing an uptrend back up into this area, or move over to the right and then a move down. More than likely, it's a move over to the right and then down. We'll see what happens, okay? You keep printing more dollars, all right? We'll see what happens. But the other countries print dollars too, so we'll see. But anyways, you can see price action closing up here around 99.79 area, all right? They made a higher low and a higher high, so they're in an uptrend, okay? Still, I would expect them to consolidate underneath this area right here. Max Pain for today, okay, 625. Don't think we're going to get there. 2.5 puts for each call that expires today at 4:15. All right, those are just the puts and calls that expire today. All right, so put squeezes on the table. Economic calendar. Okay, yesterday we had GDP. GDP looked awesome. Okay, FOMC announcement kind of fell short. All right, a little presser afterwards. All right, people are going to blame it on the presser afterwards, but if you look at the price action, you had a double top inside of a head and shoulders pattern that was forming, and hence you got that right arm extension down to the downside. This morning, Challenger job cut report at 7:30. Jobless claims 8:30. Personal income and outlays 8:30. Income cost index 8:30. Chicago PMI 9:45. A gas report at 10. And that's it for today. Tomorrow, employment situation. I'm going to tell you guys right now, okay? This is a market mover, all right? Now, I trade MES, all right? That's futures. I like to put off a little block of buy and sell order, right? Already got the buy, already got the sell for it to move tomorrow morning, all right? So this will probably be a market mover, this employment situation. It always has been, all right? So keep an eye on that. That's liable to move the market big time, all right? The other outlier is you're going to have some earnings from some big cap companies like Apple and Amazon tonight. Don't know if they will pile on top of the employment situation or not, but we will probably get some movement, all right, from either Apple and Amazon earnings tonight, all right, and the employment situation. Okay, so 8:30 tomorrow, employment situation, PMI 945, manufacturing final at 945, ISM manufacturing index 10 o'clock, construction spending 10 o'clock, consumer sentiment at 10 o'clock, and then a rig count at 1. All right, let's take a look at the earnings. All right, on the earnings for tonight, Apple and Amazon, okay, 3.1 trillion in market cap, going to report tonight. Along with Amazon, 2.4 trillion, going to report tonight after the close. MasterCard's reporting this morning, half a trillion there. AbbVie, 330, about a third of a trillion there on AbbVie this morning. S&P Global, 162 billion, that's this morning. Okay, tonight, Stryker Corporation, 153 billion, that's tonight, okay, alongside Apple and Amazon. Unilever, 145 billion, that is this morning. KKR, 134 billion this morning. Sanofi Advantis, 124 billion. Comcast, 122 billion. Tomorrow, all right, Berkshire Hathaway is supposed to report sometime tomorrow. We'll see what happens with them. ExxonMobil, 482 billion tomorrow morning. Chevron Corp, 268 billion, all right, tomorrow morning. Linde Corporation, 219 billion tomorrow morning. Enbridge, 98 billion, okay? And then some more familiar names. You see them, Colgate-Palmolive, Regeneron Pharmaceuticals, okay? Some more familiar names, but nothing's going to move the markets like Berkshire Hathaway, all right? So we'll see you guys. That's it for me for today, okay? I'll see you guys. And thank you for your post, Alan. We'll see you guys tomorrow. No, I'll see you guys today, all right? Did you get any sleep last night? All right, so I'll see you guys today in about 35 minutes, 30 minutes, all right? We'll open up the markets.